not
That's
pop.
probably the last thing I would put
Definitely
into.
not pop.
Especially this album.
Yeah, the only tracks I haven't had a problem with that were the house tracks, because house has specific, Afro house, whatever. This one, we're classifying it more in the world and chanting, because even though it's not just chanting, the songs have chants through them, some Tibetan chants, things like that. And the purpose of it, I guess go back and cover all this, but I wanted to have a project that had a healing element to it. And I know that there's a lot of, the drummers and the folk kind of chanting things and stuff like that. And I really wanted something that had lyrical songs, that had a little bit of a groove to them, or something so that you could listen to them, like you said, in the car, and still be listening to a song with some melody and some lyrics, but also get the benefit of that mantra through it, or at the end of it, or just kind of getting yourself in that mindset.
Now, let me ask you this: when you first started doing music, did you intentionally set out to say, "I'm going to touch all of these different genres and styles," or did this producer guy over here kind of reel you in?
Let me tell you what happened. Okay, so
I don't like the look on his face when I asked him.
I think his brain hurt. That's why. Honestly, I just came to Stinky Face back in the day. 2008 was probably the first time I was there, and I was new to the studio. I had been writing songs for a long time, but I'd never really been doing it professionally in the studio. I wasn't a band; we were a cover band, and I had a whole journal full of songs, and they were all different genres. Right? They were all very different. We had a country kind of song, like a piano ballad. We had dance tracks, things like that. So we with Stinky Face, when it was a label, we called my stuff eclectic soul, because there's a soulful element through it. Whether it's with the lyrics or whatever, there's some kind of soulful, not soul as an R&B soul, but it always had that kind of feeling in the lyrics. So that was a great label, but that's not a label that anybody else recognizes. So you go to CD Baby, you got to be like, they don't have eclectic soul.
I honestly feel like they need more labels, because I feel like some of my favorite artists and some of my favorite songs I can't really put into a category.
Absolutely. Right.
And those are usually the best. That's usually the best music.
I think a lot of people get in the niche with one genre and then go other places. I just came out the box with
she just said, "I'm putting it all out there."
But you know what? When you're indie artist, and it was really more about just expressing what I wanted to say in a song. It wasn't about whether you wanted me to do country music or not. This is what I do. So, it matters, but it doesn't really matter in some ways.
On your last project, you touched on a lot of subjects, from love to hate to everything in between.
Moon games.
And on this, you said that this project is a little more.
Yeah, this is a totally different project. The last one was very.
You had a lot on your mind. Dark. On Deeper.
It was darker.
You had a lot on your mind.
Yes, I did.
Deeper.
I did. Yeah.
I don't know exactly if those were personal things you were going through, or if it was just
everything
things that you were seeing, but that definitely covered the wide range.
Yeah.
I think that got me through a couple of days on 95 as well. But I do notice that there's more of a mellow, kind of like a Tribe Called Quest as opposed to Busta Rhymes on this one, so to speak. You
not in your face like Love, right?
So, I mean, I don't know if that means that you're in a happier space as far as life. And
I have been going through a transformation, definitely. Last year, Deeper came out 2015, at the end of 2015. And my father passed away in 2014. And then my mom passed away at the beginning of 2016. So through that whole time frame, everything changed for me. And I've always been intuitive. I've always been able to tell when things are going to happen or get feelings from people. And that's something that's been on the back burner for me. And the crystal thing has kind of been on the back burner, but I've always been interested in it. So I started a journey learning Reiki, which is energy healing, last year. And this year in January, I became certified as a master teacher in Reiki. So that has been a catalyst for a lot of this and the things that I'm doing now. I'm bringing the music and the healing together. Nice.
That kind of made me just want to lay down on the couch and see if she can.
So I've had Reiki.
Yeah.
I've had it done.
Okay.
And I was actually processing a breakup, and it was so crazy how
in a good way.
Yes.
Okay.
So I knew people who had it done, and they told me these amazing stories. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait. And so I go and have it done, and like as soon as I go get back in my car, I'm like still so sad and depressed and still crying. I'm like, I just wasted $60. Anyway, I went home.
It happened later.
Yes, I went home and slept.
Yeah.
For like 3 hours. Like it was like in the middle of the day.
Right.
I just went home and slept for like 3 hours. Like it was like a weird kind of tired.
Yeah.
And I woke up.
It's like a release.
Yeah, and I woke up, and then the next day I felt so different.
That's good.
Like this huge weight had been lifted. So it's really amazing. Yeah. And like when I had it done, it was weird. I was almost like in a trance, and I couldn't tell if I'd fallen asleep or not.
Everybody says it.
Wow. Yeah,
definitely. Because it's like lights and movements and
And I even felt like some of the crystals she put on me, like actually, it wasn't super painful, but there was some like tingling and like almost.
It's funny that you went like this because a lot of people have issues with their throat chakra.
Yeah.
And more than any other chakra, the stones you put here, like for truth and personal truth, are almost like suffocating to people because there's something that has to be released. No, it's not weird. It's very common. Okay. Very common. But yeah, it's just funny you went like this.
Yeah, and that's weird. That was one of the ones that I felt pain in, I think, like around like this area.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Okay. Cool.
But I'm definitely a believer. I definitely tell people all the time.
Yay!
Go and have it done. Get your chakras balanced.
I feel
it's pretty amazing.
It's good. It's pretty good for you.
Yeah, I can't even tell you why I started doing it. I just kind of fell into alignment with it. And I think somebody told me a long time ago, when you're doing music, especially locally, we all know each other. Maurice works with everybody. We all have worked together. We all, back to the up, whatever. But there is an element of, I don't want to say competition, but you kind of have to stay on the scene. You have to go to open mics. You have to put your face out there. It's not always easy.
Got to stay relevant.
With this, I really feel like this is where I belong. Not that music isn't. Music is part of what I do. But once I started moving into this, healing area, things just started falling into place. And somebody told me that a long time ago, that like when you find a place where you belong, it will be effortless. It will be joyful and it will be effortless. And that's the absolute truth. That's the way it's been. And opportunities keep opening up. And we're kind of, this year I'm planting seeds. I'm doing the jewelry. I'm making some money doing that, which is really a surprise to me. We're doing that in a good way. We're doing holistic festivals. So we did Karma Fest, the big one in May at Oregon Ridge, which is like, do you know what Karma Fest is? It's a huge metaphysical. They have like Reiki and crystals and, psychics and all kinds of stuff. They have workshops and yoga. They have a big main stage. So we did the main stage in May, doing this album. And then we're going to do this weekend in Pennsylvania, the Fellowship Farm, it's called. The Karma Fest there. So we're going to do it again there. And we have Masno, who's not here. He's supposed to be watching. Hi, Masno. Hey, Masno's on the album. He co-produced with Maurice. So this is the first time we had the co-producers there. Not the first time we've worked together because we did Freedom, the song I did about human trafficking. We did that together.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Put that on the
mixtape. Yeah, we're just trying to.
My mixtape. On the Baltimore Flava.
Yes. This is my third time being here.
This is your third time. I still haven't gotten my macaroni and cheese.
I know. Let me talk about macaroni and cheese, okay? First of all, I cannot bring my white stuff in here with macaroni and cheese. It is not boiling hot and gooey and delicious. So if I make it, like today I left my house at like 5 o'clock to get my son where he has to go. And by the time I get here, it's going to be all old and nasty and y'all going to be talking about me. Right?
Yep.
See? He's not saying nothing.
I still would have ate it.
So Maurice.
Me too.
I would have ate it too. I definitely would have tasted it.
He's talking about macaroni.
You can't brag about how good your mac and cheese is to a black man. And then just
he's talking about macaroni and cheese before.
Pause for it. But what does that have to do with me?
You can speak for it.
I see for myself. Mr. Curl, how have you been, man? It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think we were in the old studio the last time both of you were here.
Yep.
If
I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's definitely been a minute. What's been going on?
Man.
Stinky Face World.
Rebranding.
Okay.
Getting ready to come out with some new stuff. Working with different artists. Same old, really. Just trying to do it differently and do it a little bit more professionally, a little bit more bigger.
Let me cut you. I thought about you. It was about 2 months ago because I was watching. I love what's the name of this? Vinyl Destination. It's a video that DJ Jazzy Jeff does while he's on tour around the world, and he just basically has a videographer following around, and then he and he puts it on. It's called Vinyl Destination, and he's basically made a YouTube series out of it. And there was one particular video that he did where they did like a 48-hour sit-in in a studio, and they were putting the album together. It was him and a bunch of other, a few rappers, but basically a bunch of musicians. I could have sworn that was you playing the bass guitar until about the fourth time that the camera went around, and I was like, okay, that's But I was getting ready to hit you. I'm like, yo, you working with my favorite DJ, man. What's going on? But yeah, the camera actually passed that dude like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, nah, that's not Maurice. That's some random dude.
Maybe soon.
Yeah, man, that would be crazy. But in the rebranding process, is that just for like the music, the label, and
well, it's no longer a label.
Okay.
I still hold on to the Stinky Face brand, but the rebranding is coming in. Like, how business is. You have to kind of let people know what you're still doing or how you're being different. Really, that's really what it is. New pictures, new music, different techniques. I have a team now. Like, I have videographers that I work with. I have co-producers that I work with. I have musicians that I work with. So I'm not doing all of the work by myself anymore.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And the sound is way different as well. As you can hear on Mantra, like just even with working with Masno, like the product sounds way different than if it was me just doing it by myself. Having another musician's input, we get to bounce ideas off of each other, and then I get to put on my production hat and tweak some things and have some fun, let some other people hear it, different things like that. So it works out differently, and it feels like I would say a bigger stage. It feels like I have like a better reach, so I can do a little bit more.
I don't think I've ever asked you guys this. How did you, what was your first thought the first time you heard Janice sing?
Why are you doing this? She was with
That sounds really bad.
No, I'm fixing it. Listen. What it is that when she first came to me, she was working with a band, and they were doing like a lot of covers and things like that. And when I saw what she was doing, I was like, why are you doing this? You should do this instead. And then we talked about, her becoming a solo artist and what her plans were, which she didn't really know.
Which wasn't really going to happen initially.
Right.
Because?
We had, initially back in MySpace days. This was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm older than Sean. I told you.
I remember some nights.
Okay, you know the artist Kim, right?
KEM?
Yes, Motown artist. His keyboardist is Brian O'Neill, and he's a jazz musician on his own. Well, he was a MySpace friend of mine.
Okay.
And MySpace, you could talk to people without actually being on their page and poking them and all that stuff. So he was like, I had all these songs I wanted to do, and the people in the band were all going in different directions, and they didn't want to do what I wanted to do. And I was getting frustrated. I didn't know anybody in Baltimore. I'm from DC. I didn't know anybody in Baltimore. I had never been in a real studio. I didn't know any other musicians than one in the band. So I really felt like I was stuck. And he is the one that said, listen, there are a million producers who do not write lyrics. They have millions of tracks, and they don't write lyrics. And you just got to find them. He goes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to send you 4 songs. I forget what it was. And just to see what you can do, just to let me kind of try my hand at writing for somebody else. So I wrote lyrics to like all 4 of them, and that's how I talked to Maurice, because he had already approached the band about doing sound one time, possibly playing keys, all this stuff. So I knew we had a studio, but I didn't know anything about going to the studio. I was like, do you have a stand for the music? Then I asked like 5 million questions. No idea. So I went in and recorded my vocal ideas to his tracks. He wasn't going to do anything with them. He just wanted me to see what I could do. And that's how we started working on A Part of You. There was a song I had that I had written that I knew exactly how I wanted it to sound. And I sang it the last 15 minutes of my studio session I had paid for. So I sang it a cappella, and he was playing it on the keys outside. And when I came out, he said, sing it again. And he started playing. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was going to do. So we started writing songs like that. But I still wasn't going to be a solo artist. I was just going to get my songs down, do a CD. And that's kind of when the label started. And he had asked me to sign for a label at that point. So a lot of us were on the ground floor of Stinky Face coming up as a label and going through all the motions, like Femi and all those people were all a part of that. Okay. So, yeah, we go way back. That's why
that's when y'all were robbing.
We were robbing people for their pantyhose. Hi, Femi.
Shout out to Femi. I got him on the schedule. He's coming on here sometime soon.
He's so funny.
I can't think of the date. So, like this is definitely an organic coming together of the art, so to speak.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you guys like the dynamic duo now, as far as yeah.
We don't like each other sometimes, but that's kind of
that's natural.
Yeah,
that's natural. Sing the song, Anime. Somebody posted a thing about Anime and Eternal on my Facebook page today, and I've been on this anime kick ever since then. So talk a little bit about like the stuff that you've done on the house side, because I think that was the one that surprised me the most.
Yeah. How did that happen?
A dare?
Yeah, you made me mad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's what happened. It wasn't a dare. You said I don't think you should do house music,
right.
And I said watch me do house music. Watch.
And did you want her to do house music? Was that like
he's gonna say that now? But no, he didn't back then.
I didn't.
I know why.
At the time when we were talking about doing it, I knew powerhouse singer, kind of house music artist, where you're belting out the notes and that's not your style. And so I was like, yeah, you don't want to do that. And she was like, I'm going to do it. And so.
And I did it. Thank you. Top 10 Afro house charts. Thank you. I started working with Dinka Gaba, and I met him. Actually, he knows Masno. He knows a lot of the people in the scene. But Dinga's here in Baltimore, and he's very, very popular overseas. So South Africa, Italy, Germany. The house scene is a very unusual scene. Like you could be right here and getting your gas at the gas station. Nobody knows who you are, but they know who you are in South Africa. Miss Janice. They know, when are you coming to South Africa? I'm like, when y'all pay for me to come? But he heard me sing, I think on a clip on Facebook from Hunfest in Hamden, Baltimore. Wow. And he sent me some tracks. He was actually on jury duty, and he goes, I'm going to send you these tracks right now. So he's like sending me stuff from his laptop. And that is the one that became Feeling Fine, which is the one that was really, really popular. He also did a remix of our song Watch Me Fly, and with his label Global Diplomacy, and we brought in some South African DJs to do remixes, so that was really cool. And we're actually performing that version now when we do Karma Fest, and we have Kissy B, Kissy, right, with her amazing vocals.
That's kind of like the way that I was when I came across Sheila Ford and started hearing her music, and I think I had probably seen her 10 or 15 times and not even realized who she was, and actually just came to know who she was at the first day of Artscape. Right. And I've been like a fan of hers, for years now. Yeah, she's a Scorpio. But and she just happened to actually Nina, the original party girl, was hosting a house event at the Why Not Lot of all places on the first day of Artscape, and I hugged Sheila and didn't even know who she was. She was just walking around hugging everybody. And I'm like, Sheila Ford. And I went to you're like, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go get another hug. But she's dope. And it's just something that I thought about when you said how the guys,
it's funny. And even Tommy Davis from Quantize Recording, that they did Feeling Fine. They the label for that. He had never met me. And when the single came out, they always have like cartoons on them of somebody who's not me. It was some girl in an afro bikini. It wasn't me. And I met him at a house party one time, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Janice. I'm Janice B." And he was like, it took him a second. He was like, "Oh my God!" But yeah, and the thing about house, I love it, and I love the music, and I love writing it. But especially international stuff, it's very hard legally to get your money. Not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
The problem is, it's that DJ is the star. So even though I wrote the lyrics and I sing it, the DJ goes on tour, the producer goes on tour and does the house parties, and the vocalist is not always there. So I get paid when it's streaming. I get paid my little pieces of it. But Well, they did. It depends on who you're talking about. If we're talking about big money people, they might bring you out there and put you up. Mark Evans goes out and performs and stuff like that. But if you have one song out, they're not going to fly you over to Italy, you know. But they're touring and making money, and you're at home doing your laundry, and that's my song, you know. And not talking about Dinga, I'm just talking in general. So if I work with somebody in South Africa, I have no way of really going after my money. So you really have to be wise about, and I think that was one of the reasons also that you didn't want me to do it, because it's very difficult. It's a very cutthroat industry, and even the big stars will tell you that. Michelle Weeks will tell you that right away. People will put an album out that has her name on it and some white girl in front of it. And nobody even knows, you know, wait a minute, where do I get credit here? Where's my picture? What's going on? You know, it's kind of ugly that way, but I just like writing different things. So it was a great experience. I still want to do some more house stuff.
It's funny that you said that, because I was actually with Sheila earlier today, and she was watching DJ Booby live. And she was like, he's playing some of my stuff. Some of my stuff. So obviously she wasn't getting
I found a compilation CD in South Africa, on a label in South Africa that had my song on it. And I was like, we get paid for this? Because I got that kind of time. I was like, searching myself. But it's a lot. And, you know, you don't really, you're certainly not in it for the money all the time, but it's nice to get your recognition for what you did. And if you wrote it exists because of you, then, you know.
So even from the other genres that you do, I'm sure it's the same way, but at the same time, it has to kind of feel good to know, like, hey, they're hearing my voice and they're liking my music.
Definitely.
Now, we had Richard Burton here last week, and the one thing that he said is that most of his touring and everything that he does is overseas. You know, he's over there performing in front of, you know, thousands and thousands of people that know his music. Yep. But yet right here in, you know, nice little old Baltimore, it's like nobody really, do you guys get that and feel that a lot?
Oh yeah, sometimes. I like it though. It's cool that, you know, somebody in a different country wants to work with you. And a lot of the people that I've met were the ones that remix Watch Me Fly. You know, you just kind of get to know people and network, and that's the fun part of it, I think. But here in the United States, we have laws, and I can come after you.
There's a little more government shit going on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the jewels.
Yes.
Because I feel protected now.
So this started because I was doing crystal healing with Reiki. Like a lot of Reiki practitioners use crystals when they do healing. Hi there. And they wanted the stones, but they wanted to wear them. And I had seen people wrap them, and I'm like, I think I can do that. I'm crafty in a lot of ways, but sometimes you don't have time to be bothered with stuff. But I'm like, I'm not going to pay for something I know I can do myself. So I'm like, get my wires out and started doing it. And they started to sell. And really, I can post them on Facebook. I was going to do an Etsy store, but I can't. The time it takes to set up the store to describe that and post a picture of it, I can already sell it. There's no sense even going through that. So I now just post them, and they sell, and I send them to them. And I did a promo with the CD when it first came out to buy it ahead of time and get a crystal with it. So that was great. A lot of people took advantage of that. Now I'm calling them Reiki rocks. That's I'm calling them. There's a couple places that are going to have them. So there's a spa in Columbia that has them on sale there. And then I was in Virginia, and in a gift shop, and the woman was like, do you have any pieces on you right now? And I gave her 3 pieces, and she gave me a check. Wow. I was like, sweet. And she would send me what you have. I'm like, okay. So that's the money I'm not getting from music right now. Right. It's coming in. I quit my day job last August. Nice. So it's nice, but your money's gone. Yeah. Because, you work corporate America, there's a lot of bad things about it, but you do have a check every 2 weeks that you know is coming in. So now this year's kind of been doing the Reiki thing, putting the CD out. We're working with a new audience now with the CD. We still have our old fans, but we're moving into that like holistic field now. So it's a different approach, and I want to start doing some events where we combine music like with a live band or a small ensemble of our band, and do like yoga and healing and the Tibetan bowls, things like that.
Chakra alignments.
Yeah, to do it all at the same time as a workshop, Because I think a lot of people, there's a lot of critics with it. Everybody's getting into healing. I'm like, well, a lot of people need to be healed right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things going on. We don't need to bring up presidents' names and stuff, but there's a lot of things that are causing pain. And I think, honestly, as I look back, you know how you start doing something and you kind of have hindsight after you start doing it. Mm-hmm. All of this kind of transpired. I think the Baltimore uprising, the Freddie Gray stuff. I live in Columbia, but this is my place where I perform and when I come out and work. And you feel very helpless. I'm gonna start crying. When you see these things on TV and you can't do anything, and it's like, what can I do? And this is something I do naturally, is this healing thing. So I'm like, well, making people feel better is a part of the healing process. So maybe I can't get out and march with a megaphone or whatever, or maybe I can't do all the things that everybody else can do, but this is what I do. Yeah. So let me do it. Let me move in that direction. I think that's what everybody needs to do. Right. Look inside, find what you have, what you need to work on, and what you want to put out there and give to help people. So I try to keep it balanced. I do a lot of, even though I charge for things, I also do volunteer. I did the Hopkins breast cancer retreat, volunteer Reiki. I'm going to do that again in November, I think it is. So that's a really awesome experience. But you want to kind of give back. Right. And it's not all about money all the time. It's about that balance. I
think my wife's going to be hitting you up for something.
Okay.
That was the first thing she said when she saw the piece on here. So what's next? What's up next for you guys?
Karma Fest on the weekend.
Yeah.
As far as shows, we're doing Acoustic Thursdays in October. I always do my birthday week, Scorpio week. Initiate the Scorpio week coming through October 26th. Scorpios, yes. And then what else are we doing? We're doing, we have a show at T-Golf in November that we're going to be working on with Mosno. So Mosno's kind of been a part of this, and his influence is very heavy, like Maury said, on this project. Because, he's from Sudan, so everything's very deep and world. And he came in, but there's quite a few songs that, I don't want to say he saved them, but where I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure where I want to go lyrically with this. I don't like the way it's coming out. It's too churchy, whatever we're doing chord-wise. He would come in and completely darken it up. Like, he would come in and go, oh, well, I would sing it like this. And
then the desert comes in.
Yeah. So his influence is very heavy, but it's really awesome. And I like the way it came out, so.
We're getting into using a lot of different acoustic instruments more than electric as well. And if we can flash forward a little bit, we have some ideas about incorporating the CD, a CD that I didn't really advertise too much, where there's some frequencies and vibrational sounds to align your chakras. So there are some plans to kind of incorporate all of this into a live setting, so you can literally sit there, listen,
this is a great idea,
and get healed.
This is a really good idea. So I went to a guided meditation, and I heard, this is the first time I heard of this concept. So I guess the universe itself has sounds that it makes.
Yes,
frequencies.
Yes. Frequencies. Yes.
This is the first time I heard that, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, I love this idea. So apparently you can Google some of them. People said at the things that they sleep to them sometimes.
Yeah, you can.
But I think that that's a great idea, because I think that we are entering a time where there is becoming this tipping point where more and more people are meditating and and being open to these things. And I think that when you do them in group settings, I think that's because you meditate at home privately, and I think anytime where you can bring that to a live group setting, I think that's a great idea.
It is, definitely. Yeah. And we also we were talking about Baltimore ceasefire a little while ago. We did you could do distance Reiki if you're a level 2 practitioner or higher, and you can actually send Reiki energy to a situation or to something that's going to happen in the future. So we covered Baltimore that whole weekend. We did it live on Facebook. And we did the Reiki, distance Reiki, as a live event. So anybody who could do it could all send it at the same time. And we'll do it again for the other one that's coming up in November. First weekend of November. Yeah.
Make sure I check that one out.
We'll tag you.
I always need it. Let everybody know how they can find you guys on social media.
You were talking about Twitter. I feel the exact same way. Instagram is the Twitter with pictures, basically the same thing. So just hook it up so that you can click on something and it'll automatically update Twitter, because I hate Twitter. Everything is Janice B Music or Janice B Reiki, and Reiki spelled Reiki. So Instagram, Facebook, Google Plus, websites, JaniceBmusic.com, JaniceBReiki.com. I need to put them all together. I did initially because I felt it was going to be two different worlds, but I should have known better because all of my things come together at some point. So I'll probably have it all together. But right now I'm hitting like 5 different pages. It's like I got to put these things together. It's too much. But yeah, Janice B Music, that's me.
Mine is real easy. You can either find me under Stinky Face, that's STINKIFACE music, or you can put in Maurice Carroll. I'll pop up. If you are a IG user, it's one Maurice. But otherwise, you can find me.
And he's not the guy that was on the DJ Jazzy Jazz.
Disclaimer.
I love these gold microphones, by the way.
I know.
Maurice wears unicorn skin shoes.
Not today.
Not today, though.
Oh, can I promote my skirt?
Who said that? Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. We're talking about Black business. Mm-hmm. This is my friend Tracy Jenkins, who's probably watching. She's my makeup artist and my hairstylist. Yes. She custom made this for me.
Nice.
And she said I was going to get a hard time because I'm white wearing dashikis, but I don't care. And she made this for me. So she is Stellar Couture with the clothing and Stellar Visage with the makeup and hair.
Nice.
Yeah, just want to.
What's up?
She's a business.
Soulful white person I know. So y'all got passes.
He said Joel B. Oh, man.
It's the B, exactly. It's the B. Thank y'all, man. It's always a pleasure to have a chance to chop it up with you guys, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah,
I don't know
what's going to happen with the next one. I think I really kind of want to start writing and have other people singing. That's something I want to do.
That's where the money is.
I've done some local artists. I've done some things for local artists, but I just want to keep doing that, I think, on the side as well, because that's just a whole different mindset. I can never just stop and make crystals. I got to keep doing all kinds of stuff.
I might donate my voice to a chorus.
Okay, come on.
Bass part.
A couple bars in there.
Something like that.
You got to deal with me in the studio.
That's okay.
You don't even know. Oh, he doesn't know what that means.
Definitely appreciate y'all coming through, man. Shout out to my girl Michelle Dewberry for sitting in and doing a splendid job. I'm about to go party with my girl Nina for a minute. Shout out to my man Jay McGraw. Shout out to Voice, and also who else was here? I can't think of her name. I left for Voice, but anyway, yeah, shout out to her. We'll be back next week, man. Again, this Saturday, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Why Not Lot. Come out for the Play It Forward Festival. Hosted, obviously, by myself now, since I didn't know that Last Born was going to be doing other things. But if Michelle was there, she might hop up on the stage.
We're going to put you up there. Go ahead. Introduce the next act.
Absolutely. But definitely come out, man. We're doing it for the kids one last time before they go back to school, man. And we're just going to have some fun and go Florida State. Y'all got to beat Alabama this weekend. I need that to happen very badly. We got the cool kids coming up next. Thanks to my man Diamond K for holding us down. Just pray for peace in the city this weekend, man. We just put the guns down, pick up a book, pick up something. Just stop the violence, man. All that good stuff. We'll be back with you guys next week. This is Baltimore Flava Radio, radioonfire.com.